Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Pravijakacharya Asatya Sadashishi Manas Divine Grace of the A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kota Vaishnavini Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, this morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 24, text number 15. And we'll read till what's that?
Today I think it's Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Oh, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then we won't read from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Huh?
This verse is from the 10th canto. This verse on the board.
Oh, it's from the 10th canto.
10th canto is 46. That's
No, I think it should be
this one. What should we do? This one.
That definitely doesn't look like a Chaitanya Charitamrita verse.
should be this one.
Was ist das noch? War hier wieder 25? Welcher war das? 37.
525 text 37.
That's on the board? What's on there?
No. This is not on the board. This would be the next verse. Maybe you can also continue.
This is the verse today.
Yeah.
This is the It's from last week, 37.
And this is,
Yeah, then it's the next one.
so whatever's on the board, let's do the one on the board.
This is from Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam. Should we take this?
Yeah, let's do what's on the board. Let's just do what's on the board.
I think Millie wrote from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Are you sure it's not the next, maybe? She wrote
Krishna
this one.
Promise. Oh, yes. This is actually this verse.
Okay,
It's Krishna. This verse.
yeah, okay. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Vaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Vaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Vaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So this is on the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 25, text number 37. Dristam Shrutam Bhuta Bhavad Bhavishyat Asanus Charisnur Bhad Alpakam Va Vinachyutad vastu taram navacham Saeva sarvam paramatma bhutaha Drishtam sutam bhuta bhavan bhavishyat Sasnu charisnu bhad apakam va Vinachyutad vastu taram navacham Saeva sarvam paramatma bhutaha Drishtam sutam bhuta bhavad vivishyat Sasnus charisnu bhat apakam va Vinachyutad vastu dharang navacham Saeva sarvam paramatma bhutaha Nustam sutam bhuta bhavad vivishyat Shasnus charisnu bhat apakam va Vinachyutad vastu dharang navacham Saeva sarvam paramatma bhuta Drishtam sutam bhuta bhavad bhavishyat Shasnus charisnu bhat apakam va Vinachyutad vastu dharang navacham Saeva sarvam paramatma bhuta Mataji. Dristam sutam bhuta bhavad bhavishyat Sasnus charisnu bhat apakam va Vinachyutad vastu dharang navacham Saeva sarvam paramatma bhuta Dristam, experienced by direct perception. Shrutam, experienced by hearing. Bhuta, past. Bhavat, present. Vivisyat, which will be in the future. Stasnu, immovable. Charishnu, movable. Mahat, the greatest. Apakam, the smallest. Va, or. Vina, except. Achyutat, the infallible personality of Godhead. Vastutaram, anything else. Navacham, not to be spoken. Sa, that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Eva, certainly. Sarvam, everything. Paramatma Bhuta, the origin of all causes. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the cause of all causes. He is past, present, and future. He is the movable and immovable. He is the greatest and the smallest, and he is visible and directly experienced. He is celebrated in the Vedic literature. Everything is Krishna, and without him there is no existence. He is the root of all understanding, and he is that which is understood by all words. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:46-43 was spoken by Uddhava when he came to pacify the inhabitants of Vrindavan during Krishna's absence. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Sadakaya Chakshram Litam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukram Kotuvachalam Pangam Langhaitagrim Yat Kripa Tamadaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Vanchakapatubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it stated, Shruti Pachaksam Aitiyam Hanumanam Tushtayam. These are the 4 ways by which one can understand the temporary, illusory nature of this world. Shruti, the best way to understand, is through the Vedas. Shruti, Prajaksam. Just like Krishna, he says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yahidang Padamang Gudno, Yehi Samarsparsha Jaboga, Dukuyo Naya Evate, Adyantavanta Kondaya, Natesuramathe Buddha. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which is due to contact with material miseries. The material senses. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end, so the wise person doesn't take delight in them. Powerful verse. Dravida, you know Dravida, Prabhu? His favorite verse, Bhagavad Gita. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which is due to contact with material senses. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end, so a wise person doesn't take delight in them. So the nature of this world is that the so-called pleasures, they have a beginning and an end. And in between, a lot of suffering. But in spiritual life, the pleasure has a continuous increase in happiness, if one is practicing. Prabhupada once said, if you're not happy in Krishna consciousness, then you're doing something wrong. Natural byproduct of practicing Krishna consciousness. So the Vedic literature is the best evidence by which one can understand the temporary, illusory energy of this world. And then Shruti Pratyaksham means also direct experience. So one could hear, the best way is just by hearing. You learn by hearing. And then you go on your journey. But some have to also experience. And then they understand, oh, this material world is not a nice place. They got to go through the experience. And some people, they have to go through the experience once, twice. They got to go through a few experiences before they, go through. Thick head, sometimes it takes a while. So, Shruti Pratyaksham Aitiyam. Then there's also traditional wisdom. There's so many pastimes in our Vedic literatures, in the Mahabharata, and the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Traditional wisdom. So this has all given us real education. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, it's amazing. You know a verse so well, but then it just doesn't come. Krishna is the source of all remembrance and forgetfulness. Right? No, first verse in the second verse in the 9th chapter. Rajavidya, that's it. Rajavidya, Rajaguyam, Pavitamidam Uttamam, Prakyaksa Bhagamang Dharmam, Susukam, Kartamavyam. So Rajavidya, this knowledge that we're getting in the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is called the king of knowledge, Rajavidya. This is real education. In the schools, they teach the education of attachment. And they teach also how to be detached from God. God is not allowed in the schools. I was distributing books at a university one time, and a professor stopped at my table. And we were talking, and he said he's a professor of religion at the university. So I asked him, do you believe in God? He said, no. Teacher of religion doesn't believe in God. So I asked him, did you believe in God when you started your studies to be a professor of religion? He said, oh yeah. He believed in God when he started his studies to be a religious professor. But after going through the system, he didn't believe in God. It's a demoniac. The educational system is so demoniac. It's terrible. It's horrible. Even in India, if we go to try to distribute books on campus, university campuses, we can't do it. You have to go to to the dean of the college and ask, is it okay? And if they say no, then you can't. Whereas in America, it's amazing. We have freedom of speech, freedom of religion. Any university in the country that is public, which is about 90%, we're allowed to go there and distribute books. And most of our book distribution is at universities. We used to have the airport. The airport's closed. But the colleges are actually much better. They take books like anything. Any public place, like on the streets also, we're allowed to set up table. Any public street. Actually, what happened a couple of years ago is a policeman stopped me from distributing books on a public sidewalk. We took him to court. We sued him. We sued the city. So they had to give some money to us because, illegal. You can't stop book distribution. It's pretty amazing. So this education is teaching attachment to Krishna and detachment from material life. Just the opposite of what we have now in the modern educational system. It's terrible. So Rajavidya, Rajaguyam, and it's the most secret of all secrets. And one might say, well, how is it a secret? We're distributing millions of books, over 500 million books, about 540 million books. So how is it a secret? Well, they may get the book and may even read it, but to understand it, that's another thing. It's not easy to understand this knowledge. Although, of course, some are understanding, and therefore throughout the world people are becoming devotees, but very few can understand. And even us who are practicing to fully understand it, it's like it's not easy. We have a deep philosophy, a wonderful philosophy, but it's also not easy to understand. So Rajavidya Rajaguyam Pavitram. this knowledge is the purest knowledge. It's the purest knowledge because it gives direct perception of the self through realization. It's like we have water purifiers. Yeah. We have air purifiers. So this is consciousness purifier. You read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and the consciousness gets purified. That's the power of these books. There was one instance where a young man, he got a BTG from a devotee. And he was reading it, and he appreciated it. He was the son of a big preacher in America. Evangelistic preacher, television, evangelistic preacher, big preacher. And he took it home and he was reading it, and his mother saw that he was reading this back to God. She said, "What are you reading there? What's this?" He said, "Oh, one person asked for a donation, I gave a donation, he gave me this." Back to Godhead. She took it away from him. Another, big Christian. He had only read about maybe a couple paragraphs of Prabhupada's lecture. That's the first article in the BTGs. And just from those first couple paragraphs, he appreciated it. But she took away the magazine. He never saw it again. And sometime later, he got another book. He got a Science of Self-Realization. But this one, he didn't let his parents see. He didn't let it. So he read that and became a devotee. And his father called him up, said, "My son, you're a Christian your whole life, a good Christian boy. How is it you become a Hare Krishna?" And he said, "Father, for the first time in my life, I'm feeling some love for God." Amazing. And so his father had some integrity. He said, "Well, then my son, continue on. Do as you're doing." But he was probably pretty surprised. Yeah, he grew up a Christian, but now finally I'm feeling some love for God. There's another instance where a lady, she joined the movement, and her mother found out, and she said to her daughter, "I've given you anything you ever want. I've given you everything. How could you leave me and join the Hare Krishnas?" And she said to her mother, "Mother, you've given me everything except for love. Here I'm getting some love." So she probably felt a little uneasy about that. So yeah, Prabhupada was such a pure devotee. So much love for Krishna. And it was what we call it bubbling over. And therefore it was coming out in his writings. There's one pastime of Prabhupada. Prabhupada was in America for 5 years before he left. And the way he left was rather interesting. He was having an argument with Dwarkadish. In Los Angeles we have the deities Rukmini Dwarkadish, and Dwarkadish told him, "Go to India." He said, but Krishna, here I'm having so much success. So many temples are opening up. No, he said, you go to India. Don't worry, we'll have a temple for you that's 1,000 times better than Los Angeles temple. You go, don't worry. Now you have so many devotees, you go there. Go to India and you'll see. So Prabhupada was defeated by Dwarkadish. And that's when he went back to India. And he told the temple presidents in America to send one of your best men from each temple. And they went to India. So they were doing Harinam and preaching. And Prabhupada called them his dancing white elephants. Because here in India, people were giving up. A lot of people, they were giving up their culture and leaning towards the West. But now they have these Americans and Europeans dressed like Vaishnavas and chanting Hare Krishna. And it was the shock of the country. It was the shock of the country that Americans and Europeans are giving up their Western dress and they're wearing dhotis and kurtas. And the other Indians, they're giving that up and they're wearing Western dress. It was a shock. So Prabhupada was going all over India. He was preaching. But one of the devotees that went to India, his name was Giriraj. Now he's famous, you all know, Giriraj Swami. He was Giriraj Brahmachari at that time. So the parents were very upset, first that he had become a Hare Krishna, and now that he's on the other side of the planet, he's in India. He's the only son, so it was very difficult. So they let Giriraj Brahmachari know that they're coming to India. So he picked them up to the airport, and immediately the parents are trying to talk him into going back to America. What are you doing in India? Come on, it's a third world country. Come on, back to America, let's go. No, I want to stay here. I said, okay. So the father said, I want to meet with your guru. His father's a millionaire, multi-millionaire. He was a judge and a lawyer. So he's a sharp guy. I want to meet your guru. I said, okay. So he arranged a meeting with Prabhupada and the parents. The mother was there too. Mother, father, Prabhupada, Giriraj, and Prabhupada's servant was there as well. So the father said to Prabhupada, this disciple of yours, he's our only son. And that he's over here on the other side of the planet. This is very difficult for us. So can you kindly send him back to America? So Prabhupada asked Giriraj, do you want to go back to America? He said, no, Prabhupada, I want to stay here with you. And Prabhupada looked at the parents and said, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to force him? And they said no. Because there's a saying in America, a person forced against his will is of the same opinion still. So he would probably run away anyway. So it was settled he's going to stay. So then Prabhupada said to Giriraj, take your parents to Kathmandu, Nepal. Spend a week with them. Make them happy. He said, yeah, I can do that. So they did that. They went to Nepal and spent a week there, and they were happy with that. And then when they went back to Bombay, Giriraj wanted them to spend a little more time with Prabhupada. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Hoy. Lavamata Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. That even a moment's association with a pure devotee can bring about all perfection. So they had another meeting. Now Prabhupada didn't preach to them. Sometimes preaching means knowing what not to do. Just befriending them. He was just friendly with them. Joking about the differences between India and America. There's a lot of them. So Prabhupada was just friendly with them. And when they left, they were very happy. And the servant said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you amaze me. Everybody loves you so much. And Prabhupada said, that's because I love everyone so much. So this is why this movement spread all over the world. It still is. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, he reasons ill who say that Vaishnavas die while still living in sound, The Vaishnavas die to live, and living, spread the holy name around. So Prabhupada's alive. He's here. This is the Vani, and then there's the Vapu. But Prabhupada said the Vani is more important. He said, I might be in a plane, and there's a bug on me. He's got my Vapu association. But 10,000 miles away, there's a disciple following my instructions. So he's closer to me than the bug that's on my coat or whatever. So Vani is most important. And Prabhupada wanted the devotees to regularly read the books. He was in Germany many years ago visiting, and the devotees were telling Prabhupada about all the books they're distributing, thousands and thousands of books. And Prabhupada said, that's very good, but are you reading the books? And they said, well, Prabhupada, we gotta drive, and we gotta cook, and we gotta, chant around, we don't have much time. And Prabhupada said, then what is the use? Because he knew. You know about this, probably, this pastime? You're from Germany, right? Yeah. Yeah. Then Prabhupada said, then what is the use? Because he knew, if you don't read, then you're not going to have the strength to continue. Yeah. So, hearing is so important. Raja Vidya, Raja Guyam, Pavitrambitam Buddham, Pratyak Savagamagna, Susukham, Kartamavidam. If we hear nicely, then we'll experience the joy of Krishna consciousness. Reading Prabhupada's books is just, it's so ecstatic. Therefore it's stated, Srimbatam Svakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto Hyabadrani Virinoti Surhitsatam. That Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is a super soul, the Paramatma in the hearts of all living entities, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the devotee who simply relishes my message. If we just hear and relish the message, then Krishna is pleased, and he cleanses the heart of all the dirt. There's one statement I read recently that if one brushes off the dirt from the heart, then the reflection of Krishna comes off the heart because of the purity. Then Krishna reflects, is able to give Krishna to others. But if there's garbage in the heart, then it's hard to express, Krishna consciousness if we're dirty, right? But Prabhupada's so pure, he expressed the purity of Krishna consciousness, and therefore he captured. Prabhupada says in one purport in the Bhagavad Gita that one should be captured by this knowledge. And he captured. Like when I read the Bhagavad Gita the first time, I was like, all right, this is it. This is the absolute truth. Finally, I found it. And there's one devotee, Yadubar. He went to India. Actually, he went to India on a mission to study the Hare Krishnas and do an article, because he was a photographer. So he was working with a magazine. But he liked the devotees, and he loved Prabhupada. Prabhupada, at one point, he said to Yadubar, I think Krishna has captured you. And Yadubar said, yes, I think you're right. And now he's been a disciple since 72. That's 54 years. And he had his fiancée in America. He was writing letters to her about this Swami that he's met. Amazing personality. So she became inspired to come and visit. And she was a big atheist. Both her parents were atheists, grew up an atheist. But, and then actually what happened was a devotee found out about that and said, Prabhupada, this lady, Vishaka, she grew up in an atheist family. She was an atheist her whole life. So Prabhupada, the next time he saw her, he said, Vishaka, you grew up an atheist. You're an atheist your whole life. How do you become a Hare Krishna? And she said, your mercy, Prabhupada. Prabhupada was turning atheists into devotees. And she's an amazing devotee. She writes articles all the time in the BTG. She's been writing articles in the BTG for 45 years. And you read her articles? Oh, she's a genius. She's amazing. Yeah. Atheist. She's one of our senior Vaishnavis in this society. Prabhupada's Shakti. Amazing. So yeah, this is real knowledge. So let's look through this. Drishtam, experienced by direct perception. Shrutam, experienced by hearing. So yeah, again, better to just hear than we're able to go very nicely. And it's interesting that we have so many senses, but there's only one sense that doesn't sleep, even when we're sleeping. Hearing. Hearing is so important. Therefore, there's 2 ears, 1 mouth. Better to hear more and speak less. Unless you're speaking the Vedic literatures. There's the austerity, Krishna explains the austerity of speech. Anudvegang karang vakyang satyam priyam hitang sajachaya sabhyam yasanam chaya vanmayam tabushite. The austerity of speech is to speak that which does not agitate others. Sometimes someone might say something to us and we want to say something back to them, but better to control speech. Satyam, speak that which is truthful. So if we're hearing the truth, then we can speak the truth. Right? Satyam priyam, to speak that which is pleasing and beneficial, and to repeat, to hear the Vedic literatures and to repeat. To hear and to repeat. Whatever we hear, we repeat. And Prabhupada said that I became a good speaker because I heard. His spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, is described that he was a walking encyclopedia. He was a genius, and his lectures were very difficult to follow, to comprehend. And his writings also, if you try to read his books, you have to have a dictionary. Because so many words we're not going to understand. We have to have a dictionary just to read through. Like maybe you've read some of the Brahma Samhita. Yeah, some of it is very difficult. But Prabhupada said, even though I couldn't understand, I would still stay and hear. So hearing is so important. There's one instance of a person in San Diego. He was very favorable to our society, and he was going to give $2 million to building a temple in San Diego. But he said it was only on one condition, that we have more people, that I have more people with me on the board than there is in ISKCON. 2 ISKCON and 3 people with me. So Bhadranayan Swami, who recently left his body, he went back to Godhead, he left his body in Vrindavan, back home. So he said, no, we can't do that then. So he took back his $2 million. But then what happened is he passed away about a year ago, and in his will, he had $2 million to San Diego Temple. So he gave it. He felt bad. This is like 20 years ago. He took it back, and now he gave it back, when in his will. So now they're building the temple. Still, it hasn't been built yet. So now it's being built. So what happened is interesting. Is this person, this very wealthy person, in the middle of the night, he's sleeping in his house, big house, millionaire, multi-millionaire, and he hears his alarm. He hears his alarm go off. Like many of us, our alarm is Prabhupada chanting. That's the alarm. Prabhupada chanting, bhajan. So he heard Prabhupada chanting, the alarm went off. And he's like, why did it go off? I didn't set the alarm. And it's about 12 o'clock at night. So he wakes up to turn it off, and he finds out his house is on fire. So he got whatever little things that were valuable he got, and he left the house. The house burned down to the ground. Prabhupada saved him. He didn't set the alarm. Prabhupada saved him. He heard the alarm, and saved his life. And he was able to give so many nice donations. So hearing, so important. From hearing comes understanding. So then this verse goes on to say, but let's go through the actual translation. Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, is the cause of all causes. He is the past, present, and future. And He is the movable and the immovable. Just like there's things in this world that are movable, and there's things that are immovable, right? That's what we have in this world, movable and immovable. But if you go to the spiritual world, believe it or not, there's nothing that is immovable. Everything moves. Everything is alive. Everything can hear, everything can speak. Everything is alive. Here there's dull matter. A lot of dull matter. There's no dull matter. Everything is spiritual. Everything is personal. It's amazing, huh? Inconceivable. Nice neighborhood. And what's the nicest thing, the most wonderful thing about the spiritual world, about Goloka Vrindavan, does anybody know? That Krishna is there. Krishna is there. There's no death, there's no old age, there's no disease, there's no anxiety. It's called Vaikuntha. But this world is called Kunta. So much anxiety. Yeah. The biggest disease on the planet right now, anybody know? Stress. Stress. Like one devotee, she was distributing books in the airport, and she was talking to one man, and he worked at a pharmacy. So she asked him, so what drug is selling the most in the pharmacy where you work? He said, Maalox. Do you know what Maalox is? Maalox is something people take they have ulcers. And ulcers comes from stress. So she said, you better take this book, or you might be also taking that Maalox. He said, all right, I'll take it. So yeah, this is the major health problem, stress. So much anxiety, trying to enjoy this world, but there's no happiness here. It's an illusion. Just like in the desert, it appears like there's water. Mirage. There's no water there. But the animals, they go trying to get the water, and they die. So it appears like there's happiness here. Maya's very expert. Very expert. But there is no. There is no happiness here. It's illusory. But there is happiness. But it's just not here, in this world. Although, if one takes up Krishna consciousness, then one can experience that happiness. For a devotee, the world is Vishram Purnam Sukhayate. It's a place of joy for a devotee because they're engaged in devotional service. There's no anxiety. You could be in this world, but not of this world, and experience the joy of the spiritual world. Krishna says, Dukhalyam asasratam. It's a place of suffering. But if we become good devotees, then it's Vishram Purnam Sukhayate. It's just a place of joy. It's like Prabhupada, he said, wherever I go, it's Vrindavan. He creates the atmosphere of Vrindavan. Devotees would be with Prabhupada. They would go in to see Prabhupada. Somebody's, feeling anxiety, some stress, and just being in the presence of Prabhupada, all their anxiety and stress was just lifted. Just being in the presence of Prabhupada, because he creates the atmosphere of Vrindavan because of the purity. Yeah. So this is Prabhupada. I'll tell you another interesting pastime of Prabhupada. About the same time, 1970, they were traveling around India, and they were like a real hit. Everybody just loved them. There was one little girl, her name was Saraswati, who was the daughter of Shyamasundar and Malati, and she had beautiful blonde hair, and she was probably the only person in the whole country of India with blonde hair. And she would, in the kirtan, she would just dance, just dance like wild. And she's got a little sari on. And the Indians are just like, this is just too much. This is just too much. They just loved it. They would have these big pandals, 20,000 people showing up. And a lot of them show up just to see this little girl dancing. A little blonde-haired girl dancing with a little sari on. So they were in Madras, and they stayed with one minister. And this minister was very fond of little Saraswati. So he gave her a gift, a solid silver little murti of Krishna. And she was a devotee. She was very happy. So she was very happy to have this little murti of Krishna. So Prabhupada said to this minister, he said, it's very nice that you've given this gift to Saraswati, but she's a little child. This gift you've given her is very expensive, solid silver. It's probably worth quite a bit. Not so much now, but back then. So he said, yeah, you're right. So Prabhupada said, do you have something a little more expensive, another murti of Krishna? And he said, yeah, I have. Just like in India, they have these clay murtis of Krishna, very colorful. So he brought that and took back the silver murti. So little Saraswati, she was playing around in the house there, and she came back, and she had put the murti there on the table, and it wasn't there. So she said, hey, where's Krishna? I put Krishna here. Where's Krishna? And Prabhupada caught her mood immediately. So he started chanting a verse. He Radhe Vrajadevi Ke Chalalite, He Nanda Suno Kuta, Shri Govardhana Kapapadapatale, Kalindi Vanye Kuta, Gosantarvati Sarvata Vajapare, Kedar Mahavivalo, Vande Rupa Sanatana Ragayugo, Shri Jiva Gopalako. So Prabhupada chanted this verse. And the meaning is that the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were going around Vrindavan looking for Krishna. Is he on Govardhan Hill? Is he on the banks of the Jamuna under the Kapalvriksha trees? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? So they were looking for Krishna. You don't want to miss this. Just 1 minute, Prabhu. You're going to like the end of this. It's not over. Just 1 minute. You're gonna like the end. So So she's looking for Krishna. So Prabhupada said to Saraswati, maybe he's in the bedroom, go look in the bedroom. So she runs into the bedroom looking all over for Krishna. No, Prabhupada, he's not there. Look in the kitchen, maybe someone brought him in the kitchen. So she darts into the kitchen looking, Krishna, where's Krishna? And maybe he's in the other bedroom. So she runs into the other bedroom, she's looking. No, Prabhupada, he's not there. And then finally Shyamasundar tells to Saraswati, his daughter, Saraswati, who has Krishna? And then it dawned on her, Prabhupada has Krishna. So she went to Prabhupada and paid obeisances. Said, Prabhupada, you have Krishna? Yes, I have Krishna. So by then the minister had come back and he'd put Krishna behind his back. Here's Krishna. Now much more colorful Krishna. You know, the little girl, she didn't remember that the other one was silver and this one's colorful. So she was very happy to receive Krishna. So all the devotees, about 30 devotees, are watching this amazing pastime. Prabhupada is bringing out so much devotion from this little girl. And all the devotees, they're all just bringing out so much devotion for Krishna because Prabhupada is so pure. You can go now. Any question or comment? Okay. Yes.
Go ahead. You want to have a question? Okay. Thank you very much for the lecture. So when you were speaking about the austerity of speaking, I mean sometimes the truth is not that pleasing. Should we still tell the truth, or should we think what's
No, most important is to tell the truth, and the truth can be said in a way that it's also pleasing. Yeah. But sometimes, yeah, it happens that it's not pleasing. You know, sometimes someone might be given a lecture, for instance, at a university, and there's some atheists there that don't like it, so it's not pleasing to them. But what is most important is that the truth be given. It's most important. We can't adjust the truth just to please people.
Такая была история.
Вы скажите все, я приму.
Такая была история на украинском фестивале. Там был его милость Дубара. Я там был возле него и был слуга. И я Дубара ключи потерял от этой от комнаты.
Boys telling the story which happened on one of the festivals in Ukraine. Adubara
Да, и Дубара ключи потерял
lost
от
his
комнаты.
keys from the room,
Да, и это самое. И все искали, не могли найти.
and everybody was looking for the keys and nobody could find them.
Да, а вчера я потерял катхималы серебряные
And
в
yesterday
море.
he lost his kathima made of silver
И тоже искал, не
and was
мог
searching
найти.
everywhere and
И
couldn't
пошел,
find them.
попросил божество Нарсимхадева.
And then went to
И
Narasimhadeva and asked,
вернулся в море, и на них прямо стал,
and
нашел
came
их прямо.
back to the sea and found the kantimals.
Да?
Да, и говорит,
So he lost his silver kantimals and couldn't find them, and then went to pray to Narasimhadev. And after the prayer, he came to that place and stepped on the kantimals.
и его и слуга, я говорю, такая была ситуация, Катхимала нашел, Нарсимхадев помог. Он говорит, так попроси Нарсимхадева, хай ключи найдет.
And back to that story, he told this story about kantimals and said, well, the servant of
Слуга, я думаю,
the servant of Yadubara said, maybe you pray to Narasimha so we can find the keys.
я закрыл глаза и
He
попросил
closed his eyes and
Нарсимхадева.
asked Narasimhadev.
Открою глаза, и ключи в песке
And he
лежат.
opened his eyes and found the keys in the sand.
Нарсимхадев просто.
Nrsimha is helping you. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki? Yeah.
from Austria.
Okay, wonderful. I'll
I
see you
know
later.
where his room is.
Oh, okay.
I could show you.
Okay, sure, yeah. No, I'm here for the day. Thanks so much to Adi Keshav Prabhu for his kind hospitality.
Yes.
He mentioned something? Adi Keshav Prabhu mentioned something
What? About?
about me coming?
I didn't know. I just arrived yesterday.
Oh, you did? Okay, okay, okay. No problem, I'll speak with him.
I'm just visiting.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I called him.
Amen.